so today, guys, I titled this one Documents, 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 because it is the absolute bane of my existence. I hate how much documentation we have to have as realtors. I hate it. I hate keeping up with it. I hate trying to keep it all separated and filed. That is just not my strong suit. That's just who I am. I'm more of a visionary, go out, go do, not a make sure things are filed and properly put away and do all that stuff. So if it's not your strong suit, that's okay. There's ways around it. We try to make it as easy as we can here at White Line, but it is still extremely, extremely important that we have everything like just documented. Because if you ever get in trouble, I was actually talking, I had my assistant come over here yesterday because we were behind on documenting some stuff, and we just needed to sit down for a minute and figure out, get on the same page. And I had to re-explain to her that, and for your own edification, guys, Trek is not here to help realtors. I don't know if y'all knew that. I don't know if I've ever said that to you. That is not what Trek's life is about. That's not why they were founded. It's not what's going on. Trek was founded to protect the public, not realtors. So Trek is not on your side. As a matter of fact, they are against you. They're the ones that make sure that you're licensed, that you keep up with your CE, that they do all those kind of stuff. Guys, they're not here to help, okay? Now, they tend to be helpful if you have specific questions. They will definitely help you out to keep you out of trouble, but they are here to protect the public. And the public, the way I always assume it, you just have to assume that anybody without a real estate license is a complete ignoramus about real estate. You have to just pretend you're dealing with somebody that has never even seen a house before. And so because of that, we have to have all of the paperwork in order in case anything goes down. And if anything goes down and anybody files a complaint to Trek about you, just to scare you a little bit, Trek is going to immediately assume you're in the wrong and that you have done something to take advantage of the general public. The first thing that Trek's going to do is they're going to say, I need to see every single piece of paper associated with this transaction. If you don't have every single piece of paper associated with this transaction, you get in trouble, Eric gets in trouble, this doesn't work, right? So documenting is a huge thing. Now, I have to be honest, we have recently hired Susie Williams, who is on this call today, so hopefully she'll speak up if I say anything incorrect. Susie is way better at this stuff than I will ever be. She definitely knows what goes on in the transaction. She understands it fully, and she's the one who goes back and checks to make sure that everybody has their documents in order. And Eric told Susie the other day that she cannot sign any more CDAs based on you saying, I'll get it uploaded later. We can't do that anymore, guys, because guess what? Later never comes. So the point of this video is just to kind of remind everybody, hey, it's important. This is what we need to do, and here's how we do it. So it's going to be fairly quick. I'm going to talk about the things that we see most of the time that's missing and just kind of remind everybody how we go about doing this. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. And if you have any questions at all, please speak up. Does everybody see my zip forms here? Everybody see that?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. All right. So first things first is we are going to start with the agent's page at White Line. The agent page at White Line is where every single transaction needs to start. Unfortunately, you cannot open a folder for a client until we have a signed contract. So there are a lot of documents that need to come out ahead of time before you sign a contract. Just as a reminder, and what I want to do is show you through my zip forms. And so like, for example, this one right here, I'm selling this condo out here I'm selling a condo, right? As you can see, guys, right here before I do anything, I have in a residential listing exclusive right to sell. I have a condo addendum to the listing. Shut up, Joey. Okay. So I have these two things that went in here before it ever happened. And I also have a signed IABS from the guy. So I did get that physically from him because he was in town that day. But I have all of those things signed before we even get started. And just so you know what I do, let's see if I can do this. Sorry, it's on my desktop. Guys, see it says condo right here. I keep all of this stuff saved inside here. I save them all on my desktop until we get an executed contract. Now the contract has been executed, and so as soon as that contract gets executed, I go and put it into the agent's page, which I did the other day. For just a quick reminder, just simple, quick, this will go. To start one of these, we're going to go to add a transaction. Now, there's a whole nother video about going to the transaction. There's a few things I just want to touch on real quick. Pick your name, put your client's name, just follow directions. There has been one change to this down here is if you're representing the buyer. If you're representing the seller, is white line representing both as an intermediary, or are you wholesaling this or doing a sub 2? If you're doing a wholesale, one of the forms you have to have is an exhibit alpha, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute. A sub 2, I need to do a video about sub 2s, but if you don't know what a sub 2 is, don't worry about it right now. I'll do another video if you do know what it is. But guys, so these are basically two investment styles that we can do here. So if you're buying it as a rental property, then you would be the buyer. If you're wholesaling it or sub 2ing it, you also need to put these two things in here. So you've got to go through all of this. And there's a whole video, so we'll talk about, you go watch that video if you want to. But once you have completed this, what will happen is in your agents page, you will get these. You will get a client folder here. So there's two ways to upload things. The first one is you click upload right here in the agent page. It's easy and convenient because if you're in the agents page, it makes it simple. You choose the file, whatever you want to choose. I'm going to choose my executed contracts, right? I'm going to put both of those and I'm going to upload it. I'm not going to do that right now because that's the wrong file. But the other way, guys, is what happens when you add a transaction. We actually have backend software that sets up a Google Drive for you. If you signed up with Whiteline using a Gmail address, that is how you need to log into your Google Drive. It's very simple. I set mine up with my Google. It's c.corrington@gmail.com, right? That's my email. So all you have to do is go to drive.google.com and it'll pull up your Google Drive. What is Google Drive? Very simply put, guys, it's just a filing cabinet in the cloud. What's the cloud? It's just somebody else's computer, okay? That's all the cloud is. It is somebody else's computer. This happens to be Google's computer. And Google backs this up, and it's just nice because you can access it via the internet, so you can basically access it anywhere. You can get to this from your phone. There's a Google Drive app if you want to use that. You can get to it from your computer, anytime, anywhere. All you have to do is get to Google Drive and then log in using your account right there. As you can see, it says c.corrington@gmail. So I am logged in there. To get to your Google Drive, you're going to click Shared with Me. So in your Shared with Me photo, I have all kinds of stuff that people have shared with me, but oh Lord, I do have a lot of things in here. But one of the things that's shared with me is my name. Your name has been shared. Where is it? Come on, Colin. Sorry, guys. I had to pin it because it was driving me crazy. I couldn't find it all the time.
Search it.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could just find it and say somebody else has this. Right here there. It is, right here. So it has my name. So you will have a folder that is shared with you. Now, the original folder is going to be held on Whiteline's account, but we're sharing access to this with you. So you're going to look for your name. Now, what I've done, guys, is I've starred that so it stays up front with me. So when I go to my drive, as you can see, there's folders right here, and here's Colin Corrington. When you log into this, you have all of these different folders that are set up with your clients. So I'm representing a lady named Evangeline Schrader right now. When you say the client's name, that's how it's going to save the folder. If you save, so I sell a lot of Eric, let me try this again. I sell some of Eric's properties for him because he doesn't want to do it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll throw it in the MLS for you. Even those properties, guys, is it this one? Yeah, so as you can see, if I go in there, BES Strategic Investments, there's 2 properties that I sold with them. So if you sell for multiple people, it will set up an individual folder for each one of those people or each one of the properties, okay? The other way to do this is the way I like to do it, is I like to come here. So, oh, I haven't put the condo in there yet. I need to upload the condo. But very simply put, guys, is I keep all these folders on my desktop with properties before I have a contract. And then I just take the folder and I drop all of these in here so it's ready to go. And all you got to do is drag and drop. That's my favorite way to do it, guys. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy. But what has to happen before Susie will sign your CDA is she is going to come into this Google Drive folder right here, just like this. And so here, this is perfect, guys. We just got an executed contract on this house like 2 days ago. She's going to make sure that everything is in this file. And I think this is a pretty good example. So things that she's going to be looking for. Is there a signed IABS? Well, Colin, I have a signed IABS, but it's in my phone. I don't care. Scan it and upload it. Okay. Guys, I do a lot of these IABSs. I usually hand them one when I meet them. And then whenever I send them a document to sign, I'll simply attach an IABS to it. So they have one when I first meet them at the substantive conversation. Guys, I hand out IABSs like business cards. I mean, I seriously have a stack of about 30 of them in my truck at all times. So if I talk to them, I hand them one, I ask them to sign it. A lot of times they don't want to sign anything. I'm like, that's cool. And I go about my bit, right? And I'll usually have a second one that I'll write on here, refuse to sign on this day. And then I'll scan and upload that. Whenever I sent her, she said, hey, Colin, I really want to sell your house. I took her an IABS. We did all that. And then she says, I'm ready to sell my house. Let's do this. So the second thing I sent her was a residential real estate listing, the exclusive right to sell. If you're listing a house, you have to have either an exclusive right to sell or exclusive agency. That's not within the scope of this, but you have to have proof that the two of you work together. Most people are not putting this up here. That's a very, very big one, guys. You have to have proof that y'all have decided to work together. And it needs to be dated when you decided to work together. Okay? She signed this on 4/14. I was lazy to get back to signing it. So, you know what I mean? I didn't sign it until the other day, but she signed it on 4/14. Just because I had a lot of emails. It's not a good excuse, but that's what happened. Okay? And I had the IABS signed at the same time. The next thing that I sent her, guys, was I sent her the seller's disclosures. We are not allowed to fill out the seller's disclosures. I emailed it to her. I said, please fill this out and send it back to me. As soon as she sent it back to me, because she's living in a different town, I scanned it and I uploaded it showing that she has signed it. And guys, once again, the date that she signed it. All right, so that was important. So she signed this. Now, there will be a second time you need to upload seller's disclosures. Does anybody know when that is? Nobody. It's when the buyer signs it. I do need a copy of the buyer's signed seller's disclosures in here. So when we're done, and I have it somewhere, it's in my email somewhere because they just signed it. So we need to have a second signed copy of this. Can you replace them? Like, hey, Colin, I like to keep my stuff neat. Sure, I don't care. But it needs to have both signatures on it before we're done. Okay, I have to admit, and Susie's probably going to hate me for this, I'm kind of lazy. I just keep dragging and dropping stuff in here. Every time I get a file about an account, I just put it in there. I just put it in there. I just put it in there. Okay, next thing, guys, is she signed, this is the contract that I got that I liked. And this is the executed one. As you can see, it's executed. So what does executed mean? As a reminder, guys, that is when both parties have signed. So 1, 2. And down here at the bottom, you want to make dang sure that you have an executed date. Okay, so that's when the thing got executed. Next, for this particular client, since they sent me that, since this was the client that came with it, I also have their proof of funds, which that's kind of cool, isn't it? $22 million. I have the proof of funds in here. Does Susie need proof of funds? No, she does not. Is this required for you to get it? No, but guys, I just like to keep all my documents together, right? If I'm looking for this, if something comes up and I need to show this to anybody, whatever, this is just a great place to store things. Also, speaking of, here's other offers. We actually got, what was it, 16 offers on this property. So I saved all of these other offers inside this Google Drive folder. The reason why I did that, now you don't have to, but I did that because A, it clears up my desktop and doesn't slow my computer down. And 2, if for whatever reason this deal falls through, I know exactly where the other 15 contracts are. I can just go back, take a look, find the next buyer, right? This is a popular house. Everybody wanted it. So great. I've got all this in here. So now as we're going through all of this stuff, guys, there's going to be more documents that come to me. One of the next documents that comes to me is going to be a survey. Okay. If on your contract it says you need a survey, you need to put that survey in there. If the survey comes with a T47, put the T47 in there, right? You're also going to get a preliminary HUD. Great. You're going to get to see your seller's disclosures on the money side. Put that in there. Guys, put everything in there, okay? Now, there are a few things that I really want to point out that I want to make sure everybody has in one of these. Let me see if I can find one that's done that I know I have in here. Let's see, I know, let's see, Joel should be done. So Joel, I helped him sell a house and buy a house, right? When you go into these folders, guys, look at all the documentation I have in here. As you can see, I do have the seller's disclosures in here. They had a temporary lease. That temporary lease is in there, okay? The buyer's final walkthrough. This is one that most people are not doing, but I have been doing. So as the client, so it does not matter, by the way, if you are the buying rep or the selling rep, it does not matter. You need to have the buyer's walkthrough and acceptance form in your file. I'm gonna say that one more time. It does not matter if you're representing the buyer or the seller. You need to have this form, the buyer's walkthrough and acceptance form, in your file. What is this? I haven't really done a video on this because it's super simple. The property was inspected by an inspector and the buyer walked through and reviewed the property before closing. This is usually done the day before or the day of closing to make sure that they're happy with the house. Whatever you fixed in the amendments, whatever happened, you want to make sure this is in here. Super simple form. This is just a CYA, just CYA. Other fun stuff. Guys, look, my commission disbursement is in here. Once I have a signed commission disbursement for everybody, I put the commission disbursement agreement in here. Literally everything. Other things that I noticed that are missing a lot. Here's my survey. There's my T47 affidavit. Amendments. Aha. Guys, amendments. If you amend the contract in any way, shape, or form, you need to put a copy of it in here. Please remember, you can have multiple amendments. You can have 15 amendments to the contract. Some of the most frequent, so this one right here, as you can see, somehow we got the name wrong on the contract. So we had to amend it to fix the name on the contract. That had to go in here. I'm sure I had a couple more amendments on this one. I can't remember. Was that the only amendment? So another funny one that Susie actually told me that a lot of people are missing. Oh, here's another one. Amendment. This is the repairs amendment, I think. Yep. So right here, so they went and so right here, level the condensing unit outside. So there's a second amendment on that same property. We got our name wrong somewhere along the way. And two, this is the repairs amendment. So that's two amendments. The last one that's very frequent that we keep missing is if you push back the closing date. The closing date's on the contract. If it goes back, it needs to be amended. If it's sooner, that doesn't matter because the contract says on or before. But if you have to push back, which is this one right here, it says section 9 of the paragraph is changed to this, that needs to be in here as well. Guys, the times that is extremely easy to find out is if your contract date says, I'm closing this house on 4/10, and you go to Susie asking her to sign a commission disbursement agreement on 4/25, she's going to ask you, where's your extension? Because that contract's actually voided because you didn't close according to the contract. So make sure you have all of your amendments in here, guys. I'm actually really proud of myself because as you can see, oops, let me push that button. Oh, I went too far. As you can see, I've got a lot. I mean, I've got everything I need to have in this one. By the way, they had some repairs done. So, and then replace missing and damaged shingles, all this stuff. This is their receipt of doing. They always say, hey, do you have receipts? I sure do. Here it is. It's in my document. So if they ever ask me, they can be done because you just don't want to have that question. The buyer's information sheet that the title went through, the title commitments in here, the seller's disclosures are in here. I mean, it's everything. The pre-approval letters, amendments. And then the final HUD, guys, the signed HUD. Now, what I asked for with the signed HUD, just so you know, I asked the title company, can you please email me a signed copy of all documents? okay? I want a signed copy of all documents, and they'll email it to you. They don't care. It's super easy. A lot of times, I don't know if you ever noticed that they'll come out with a big binder full of stuff if you've ever closed a house. That's just a copy of all your signed documents. Just say, hey, I personally don't want a big binder of it. You can put it in this drive. Just say, hey, can you email it to me, please? And then we drop it in the drive, guys. All of this needs to be in here. Oh, look, there's my commission disbursement. There's my lender documents. Here's copies of their IDs because somebody needed it. Here's I think that's the wood destroying insect. Oh no, that's the foundation report that came back. Guys, everything. A copy of the inspection report is in here. This is just CYA, guys. We've got to make sure that everything goes in here. But like I said, this one was going to be pretty short and sweet. Does anybody have any particular questions about this or anything that I'm talking about? Did I forget? Susie, I know you're on here and listening. Did I forget anything?
No, you pretty much cleared it up.
Yeah. Guys, Susie is one of the sweetest people in the world. She is so helpful. So if you have questions about it, you can reach out to her. If you have questions, you can reach out to me. If you're not sure if you need something or not, ask me. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. One more thing, and then I'll shut up. In the agents page, go to resources and go to important docs. If you're not sure if you need something, there's an app for that. No, there's a page for that, right? So come on. One of my favorite documents on here is the buyer's checklist and the listing checklist. And guys, I personally print one of these out for every single time I have one of these. So if I'm working with a buyer, this is how I don't miss my paperwork. I print one of these out and I just go through it line by line and ask myself, do I need this? Is it an intermediary? Do I have that documentation? Here's the form number. Escrow contracted GF number, that's just, when I get that, I write that in there so I don't forget what it is. Third-party financing addendum, that's 95% of houses, right? Non-realty addendum item, are they keeping the refrigerator or not? Right, and I just walk through this, and there's a whole video of me walking through this, guys, to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. Get in the habit of looking at this. Here's the listing one, different set of stuff. Get in the habit of looking at this every time, because if you don't have the contracts, we're not signing your commission disbursement agreement, and it's going to take you that much longer to get paid. It's just going to take you that much longer to get paid. And remember, not every single one of these needs to be done. I mean, if there's no amendments to the contract, you don't need to put your amendments in there, right? If you didn't terminate the contract, you don't need to put the termination in there. This is just a reminder for me. Signed and filed. Did I do that? Check. 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 Did I send it to my broker? Check if I need to, right? Sometimes you need signatures. Did I send it to title? Right? Did I send it to the seller's agent? That's why I have all those checkboxes in there, so I can remember whether or not I've done this. So now, that was the last thing I wanted to say. All right, question, comments, concerns. Anybody? Joey, what's up?
What's your feel on emails? Because, you know, I have a ton of emails that go back and forth between me, the title, lender, you know, clients. Do you keep those? They're just kind of bogging down a little bit of I mean, I have folders for each client. I was just wondering.
That's the smart thing to do. It's definitely the smart thing to do. I keep folders. Where's my email? I don't find it here. All right, so there's something in here y'all shouldn't see. Don't worry about it. Just kidding. So this is my email. Yeah, I've got files for all of them set up as well. So this was an important one. That, it sets up all those for me. If I go into actual Google, you'll see more of them. I do keep files of all that stuff. If it's something that I think is going to bite me, if something gets weird, right? So a lot of the emails between you and the buyer, or you and your client, I mean, who cares, right? Hey, can we go see the house on Tuesday? Sure, right? Nobody cares about that. If they start saying, I can't even imagine, guys, but if it's anything that makes you think for half a second, it's super easy to do. So let me show you what I do on those. So let's take a look at this one. Now I'm on a Mac, guys, but everybody can do this in some form or another. So let's say, so Houston Texans, right? So this is it. Oh my God, the Houston Texans are going to sell their stadium and they're going to turn me into Trek because of something I said, right? Let's pretend they said that. I'm going to go to print this email. And then down here on this one, I'm just going to say print a PDF and save it as a PDF. When I save that as a PDF, I'm just going to drag and drop it in that folder, just so I kept it somewhere. Does that make sense? If something I agree with you. Most of your emails, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a judgment call, but if you feel like anything's getting weird, like, well, that buyer said this, this, and that, or she said, if it gets into that, that's usually my cue. If it gets into a he said, she said thing, you need to document it, because he said, she said doesn't mean anything to anybody. If you have it documented, you need to go through that, right? I'm sure we've all run into it, man. The reason I became a realtor is because I got real tired of other realtors. They're just kind of snarky and rude, and I just got real tired of it. And because of that, I was like, whenever somebody gets a little snarky or a little weird about something, you need to fill out such and such. Okay. And I save that email. I just put it in there. Guys, you can put as much stuff in this Google Drive as you possibly can stand. As you can see, you may have to buy more storage eventually, but this is my personal one. White line, all the stuff that's put in here is in white line. If you do it inside that coring, the document with your name on it, if you do it within here, guys, that's all white line storage, and you'll never run out of space. We'll make sure of that. Okay. If you want to save it with just yours, it's not. But guys, put it in here because you're going to want Eric to see it. You're going to want me to see it. Hey, Colin, can you go check out that email real quick? I saved it in my folder. Be happy to. So that's kind of my thought process on that. So hold on a second, I just thought of something. So you can see I saved the white line W-9 in here, and it's an old one, so I need to get that updated. So Susie just sent out the new W-9, guys. Sometimes your title company asks you for a W-9. You should have gotten an email about that. I'm actually going to delete that right now.
Speaking of which, is there any way that we can get that saved as a PDF as opposed to a JPEG? Just because, or as a photo, it's not very clear. So whenever I send it as an attachment, it looks a little bit blurry.
Gotcha. I'm actually going to check something real quick. Not here. Hold on. Let's go back here. Yeah, so there's one right here. I think this is it.
Yeah, that's the picture one.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's a scanned copy of it. Yeah, we can get that done.
I mean, it's not a huge deal. I was just curious.
Susie, did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. And I can go ahead and send it in an email. I'll do it as a PDF.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Well,
Susie. I know it's a stupid thing, but thank you.
No, not at all. Take care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, just I'm with her. Title companies get weird. So if you could, Susie, just like type all this out and then DocuSign it to Eric, kind of like you did here. That's obviously a DocuSign, but if we could just get it all typed out and then save it as a PDF from there.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
And then if you just remove this one and put the new one in there, and then we can email it to everybody. I know what you're talking about. Title companies do get a little weird. I can't read this exact number. Wonderful. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
Let's say there's somebody out there that may have forgotten one of these documents on a recent transaction. Can I, if it's a day or two late, can I still get them to sign and so I can upload it?
Yeah, absolutely. Do your best to make sure all that stuff is signed in the timely manner. If you can't remember what the timeline is, guys, we have the cycle of the real estate transaction right here, right? You got to make sure you have your paperwork in with the correct dates on it. Again, you don't want somebody selling the exclusive right to sell or signing the exclusive right to sell 3 days after you sold their property. You're way out of order on that, but it's better late than never.
I didn't realize the buyer's walkthrough. So, I mean, I have it documented, but I just don't have it on the form. So,
yeah, and that's mainly a CYA, guys, but it is something that needs to be done. It just makes sure that, because you don't want them coming back in 6 weeks going, well, you said you were going to fix the fill in the blank, and here we are 6 weeks later, and it's broken. It's like, you walked through the house, you checked it, not me. right?
Yeah.
And you said it was okay. That's basically what that's for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And any other questions? Everybody good? I think I got everything that Susie wanted me to talk about, because we did talk a little bit this morning. But yeah, guys, I know this is kind of a boring one. This is not really all that much fun, but it's just really important. It's just really, really important that we stay on top of this stuff. I think this one I did a good job. Hold on real quick. No, not the lease extension. I think I did it on this one. Yeah, as you can see, guys, I just threw the IABS in here when they were signing everything. Now, I didn't get signed the second time, but it is signed on the first one, which is over here. But yeah, guys, so I just throw the IABS in here to make sure I've got a signed copy of it somewhere.
There's one other. This is kind of directed at Susie. Susie, is there a way that we can organize our documents for you? I've been trying to star the documents that I feel like are the ones that you need to know where they are. You know, I star them as important document. But is there anything, because I mean, I put a ton of junk in there and I hate the idea of you having to go searching through it. Is there a way we can organize it for you?
No, not necessarily. I mean, just labeling it is what I look at. I mean, if there's other things, if there's an inspection there, I just completely ignore all that, because I just need to see the executed contract. I need to see, you know, any amendments, because a lot of them have been where they're closing, for example, on the 12th and it's now the 21st, you know, and I don't see an amendment, then, you know, I usually tell the agent, you know, can you upload the amendment? Sometimes they say they'll do it. Sometimes they say it's there. And I just can't sign the CDAs anymore with that. But just labeling it would help out a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and as you can see, guys, all of mine are incredibly well labeled, and that is not by me being that good, okay? Shut up, Joey. I'm not trying to say I'm good, but the reason why that is, guys, is because when I get them back from DocuSign, when I download them from DocuSign, they're already labeled for me, right? And I'd say 99.9% of what I do is in DocuSign. So they automatically come labeled. If they don't, I'm sure we've all had one like that before, where let's see if I can find one, where it says view file 4, view file 5. If I see that, I try to fix it. I don't always do it, but I try to just rename it so it's something that we can find things quickly whenever we're going around doing what we do. Because as you get busier and busier, guys, it's the biggest waste of time trying to look through 7,000 files to look for this one thing that you didn't label correctly. All right, anything else?
Yeah, Colin, I have a question for you. So I initially reached out to Susie just as an information, as well as Ryan, but I'm having trouble editing and uploading from my agent page. I was wondering if you're familiar with that, if maybe after the Zoom, if you have like 5 minutes, I can show you what it's doing for me, or do I just need to continue to just kind of bug Ryan about it? Because I feel kind of like you guys are all busy, so whoever's, you know, got the time that can help me with it.
I hate to pass the buck, but I would tell you to bug Ryan, because Ryan knows this a lot better.
Then he's the right person. Okay.
Yeah, and he's the guy who designed all this, and he's definitely better at doing all this. I will say, if I can share with you a couple of things. My
upload doesn't work.
I hate using it.
Yeah, I'm putting it on Google, which is fine. You know, I told Susan, she showed me that before, like how you do it. That's fine. But my edit, like if you wouldn't mind going to an edit, I want to see if it's doing the same thing for yours. Will you be able to just edit one of yours and see?
I've had the same issue where you go in and you edit like the transaction date or something like that. It's prompting you to fill in areas that are not relevant.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I was like, oh my gosh, I already did all this. And then I couldn't even change the edit, like the referral where you have referral amount. I had accidentally put it in there instead of the homes. I didn't realize that with Home Sweet San Antonio that was already in there. So I tried to remove that. It removed everything. And then I was just like, oh my gosh. So I literally can't even edit it. Okay, I'll just continue to go through Ryan then if I'm not the only one.
Yeah, touch base with Ryan, because if you can get that solved, he'll fix it for everybody. I do know what you're talking about, because what you'll use this edit screen for mainly is to make sure your commission disbursement agreement is correct. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's what most people are using when they go to get their
Yes.
CDA. So just so I can show everybody what we're talking about, when you, all that information that you put in is going to come out. So when you want your CDA, guys, you're going to go to preview. Okay. Let's do this one. And you're going to go to preview. And your DA is on the way, right? Takes a second for it to do whatever it does. And as you can see, there's some updated stuff here. And come on, there it goes. Here it is. So it's printing out my commission disbursement agreement for me. And it's got all the pertinent information on here. So it's got to have your signature, your team lead if you're on a team, and then one of us signing down here. So Susie's going to be in charge of all of them for now, until we kill her, I guess, when so much is coming through. But any one of us four can sign this. But as you can see, if these numbers are messed up for whatever reason, I know y'all don't pay, but we pay a higher amount being the brokers here because we're trying to make sure we get all the stuff that y'all need. But it's if you got to change something, you have to go to that edit screen within it. And I do know what you're talking about. Sometimes it does get a little wonky, and it will. But keep talking to Ryan until we work the bugs out of it. My best advice is just be careful when you're first inputting it all. That would be my best advice. Yeah, take your time with that. But yeah,
but I do like just adding it to the Google. So I'm glad that you showed that. I feel like that's the easiest way to kind of bypass.
Oh my God, it's so much easier. And guys, I mean, hold on, let's see if I can get my computer cleaned up here. I was doing a lot before we started this. Sorry. So like, here's an example of another one. Here's another house I've got. Like I just have folder upon folder. So Alexandria is the name of the street, right? I just remember polling. This is a client named Polling, right? I have folder upon folder as the transaction's proceeding before I actually get a contract. I just keep folders on my desktop and I save them all in there. As soon as I open a new file on it on the agent's page, I just take all the existing documents and drop it in there. Right. So whatever's in Collingsworth, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's the contract. Here's this, here's that. Right. I've got it all in there already. And then I just drag and drop and it takes 2.2 seconds for it to upload. That's how I do it. You do it how you makes you feel good. So anything else? That was a good question, Blanca. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Well, y'all go out and rock the Wednesday. Do your thing. Sell some houses. Call if you got any questions. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Colin.